we did kind of touch on, and we do have it as a topic. We might as well bring it up now. So gambling. I've been hearing about gambling for over a year. You and I have had many conversations about it. Yeah. The reason we ever started this podcast in the first place is because I was told gambling's coming to pickleball. You need a podcast so you can get a big gambling sponsorship. And that was the birth of PicklePod. Maybe people don't realize.
We have friends.
Yeah. But sounds like it's back on the table. Mm-hmm. How far away from me being able to lose all my friends and family because I'm a gambling degenerate, gambling on pickleball every weekend?
Very, very soon, which I think is very exciting. And we've been saying that a long time. But what people don't realize is how much actually goes into gambling. It's nice that we own pickleballtournaments.com and pickleball brackets. We have tournament history. The hard part is the tech isn't where it needs to be today to really be able to gamble.
Which tech? The pickleball tournaments or the streaming or
the underwriting, the creation of the odds themselves, right?
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Well, a lot. There's a lot of tech that goes into it. One, like creating the odds themselves and the matchups and the probability and the match data and the match history. And how many times has Zane Navertail played against Tyson McGuffin? How do you usually perform in game 1 versus game 2? What's your record against him? Do you usually win game 2 and game 3 instead of game 1? Is Tyson a slow starter? Does Ben roll out of bed and, take a minute to warm up? Those are all things that we have to collect data on so people can actually put the proper bets, and, so getting all those things where they're talking to each other and we're able to take data that's usable. We had so much data with pickleballtournaments.com. Too much data, so much data. But the data that we had, you saw what that site was built upon. It's one of the best assets that we have as a company, our parent company, pickleball.com, because we have so much information and so much data.
Pickleballtournaments.com now, pickleball.com.
Yeah, so pickleballtournaments.com itself was one of the best assets that we have because we have so much information there.
Yeah.
Whether it's the amateur player or the pro player. But the data is just so old, it's just not usable. And so being able to take that and now make it usable took a lot longer than we thought. So last weekend in Daytona, I don't know if you saw it, but we had referees that were out there with iPads instead of clipboards.
No, I didn't.
On multiple matches where they were not using the clipboard anymore. I know Don Stanley did one of the matches on Sunday, and we only had the tech updated to do best 2 out of 3 at the time. Gotcha. So he had to go back to game 4. He's like, I can't believe I have to go back to paper for game 4, right?
Yeah.
But those now are talking, through Genius Sports, our betting partner. So we're going to be at the point where all of our score bugs on site, no more of the YouTubers complaining, saying, hey, your score's not right. Yeah, we see that. We understand. So now that's going to be updated by every referee. So when the referee's on court, he's going to be able to put in, Zane won this point, Tyson won that point. And that's automatically going to, 1, populate the score bug, and 2, send data to the gambling companies. It's going to send it to Genius Sports. And you can think of Genius Sport as kind of the pipe that feeds all of the information out to all the different books.
Right.
And they're all interested. They all want a part of it.
Mm-hmm.
FanDuel TV, we're going to be doing, a fun thing with them shortly. And so FanDuel, they're going to be in on it. Our friends over at DraftKings, great people. Yep. They're in on it. BetMGM, you name it. They want to be involved in pickleball. And you'll see when we start, it's going to be very, very small, minimized bets, not very complex, and it's going to build time over time. But the answer that you want is May. It is our goal to have gambling in the month of May that people can actually put bets on.
And will that be, will it be like, okay, all of a sudden we can bet on all aspects of the game, or will it be certain aspects of the game we can bet on, like who's going to win this match?
That's where it's going to start. We're working on all aspects of the game right now. So eventually I want, Zane Navertail in game number 1, is he going to hit over or under 2 ATPs? Mm-hmm. We're going to get to some fun stuff.
Yeah. Right.
Can we do some ridiculous stuff like Tyson McGuffin wardrobe changes like they do for the Super Bowl? Like
sure
who's gonna win the coin toss?
Like
I can go off.
North Carolina.
we had the best. I came up with the best prop bet of pickleball history. I'm just gonna say it. I was watching with Jeff Warnick and Johnny Goldberg, who were very intoxicated at the Atlanta Open, which kind of goes without saying, right? We were watching a Riley and Tyson match against the Johns brothers in Atlanta
2 years ago.
2 years ago. That was 2021.
Yeah.
And I
they
said,
won, right?
Yeah. But I said to the boys, over under 2.5 butt smacks from Tyson to Riley. They bet the over. I bet the under. We also decided any Riley butt smack to Tyson is bet winning for them. So they just have to get Riley to smack the butt or Tyson to smack the butt 3 times. They've had a huge comeback in game 1, and Tyson gives them a meaty one, right? It was a big one. It was a big one. Game 2 doesn't go their way. That's okay. Game 3 was back and forth. I was really expecting to lose at that point. And they get to the end of it. There's no third butt smack. And so obviously Jeff and they tap paddles, but the bet was until they come off the court. So they tap paddles. Tyson and Riley just won. And Jeff and Johnny go down there and they say like, come on, Riley, show your man some love. And Riley winds up and gives Tyson the biggest butt smack. So are we going to be able to bet on Tyson McGuffin butt smacks?
I mean, that's up to the book. That's up to the books. I like it, though. I think he smacked my butt quite a few times. I'm like, it's a little uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You know?
You don't like it?
Keep that in mind.
Okay.
Well, so, okay, one of the...
Now you know.
Now, I was wondering. I wonder what percentage of people enjoy or don't enjoy a Tyson butt smack. And
I have a story for you later. I've got a story for you.
Is PPA looking into any...
You can't even make this up. You won't believe it.
Where does the Tyson's butt smack, like, where does that come into the new PPA handbook that you guys are making? Are there guidelines surrounding that? Like,
it's the brand, man.
Fair, but how much touching is too much touching?
It's a tough question.
We're gonna have to define that. We're gonna have to
one of
define
those things they're working on.
Tough question.
I do hope we get to the point where like the crowd goes wild because of a Tyson butt smack, because they all had that problem.
The crowd did go wild in Atlanta. We all had money on that, on whether that was going to happen or not. So the one thing that I want to ask about betting before we go.
That's the one thing you're not going to be able to do.
Players
aren't going to be able to do anything like that
good.
anymore. That's one thing that's going to be unique. So pretty soon, our guys over at Sports Radar, they're putting together integrity. And so all the players are going to have to get trained, do a small integrity training, our referees, our staff members, anyone that could have any kind of influence on the game at all. And part of that will be, obviously, there's going to be no placing bets on pickleball for you until you retire.
Gotcha.
So
that was going to be my question.
Yeah.
Like when, our prize money is going up and up, but I think you have to look to tennis as an example of what not to do.
Yes.
Tennis is at the challenger level almost, I wouldn't say ruined, but like
maybe close to it.
Yeah, it's brutal how bad the betting and tanking matches is. Like, obviously this is going to come with work with your partners, but what are some obvious steps that you feel like you can take to prevent me from tanking a backdraw match for, $10,000 or something like that?
Yeah, I think the first thing we're doing is the amount of money that you can bet on the sport needs to be obviously have some controls around it. So you're not going to be able to come in and bet more money on the sport than what people can make. It's just not going to work. You can't do that.
Okay.
So when you come in, the bets that you're going to see, especially till we get more data as well, they're going to be smaller bets that you can place. Yeah. That's the first way you do it right. The second is surrounding ourselves with people that understand this sport and it would amaze you the way the ability that this Sports Radar does for integrity detection. Like the amount of work that goes into that and the amount of data that they'll pull from people studying our sport and seeing players do the slightest things a bit odd. Right. And it's expensive. It's a really expensive service that we have to pay for, but you have to do it because you want to do it the right way. Mm-hmm. And so they'll come in and they'll notice Zane's doing something different and they'll have to go in and investigate it. And it might just be because you have, a sore calf, right? And they're going to come back with that finding. But anything that looks a little off, it's kind of like a camera you put on at your house at home. And so like right now I'm living in Dallas. I'm not in Salt Lake, but I've got cameras on my place in Salt Lake. If somebody comes to my house, it detects it because it automatically sees that there's something different. There's someone coming. It's on away mode, right? And so that's what's going to happen is one, technology will be able to detect it. And so will individuals that are watching the sport. And so when they see something that's wrong, they'll flag it. And when they see things that are flagged, they'll go back and investigate. And is it going to be perfect? No. Will something probably happen at some point that's going to make, big news that you guys will both get to talk about? Probably. A
little big. I like it.
Good.
That's called life. And it's really fun.